Try it. Just try it. And then you will see for yourself. A year from now, look back and say to yourself, wow, okay, what's happened in this past year in my life? And you'll be shocked at how rapidly things will begin to happen, you know, in your life. Because there is a lot more power, energy flowing into your life and through you.
Have you had periods of there's zombie existence because you were overcome with the logistics of life? You're human and we're all human, right? Like, yeah, how have you gotten yourself out of the mind and into being present again when that happens?
How does one do that?
Right.
You know, you don't have to do anything. You just have to open yourself to it. You have to open yourself, that's all. You don't have to do anything. It's like, you know, when you watch a fairy tale movie where, you know, the fairy says to the child, you just have to know it. You just have to be open to it. And there's this part of your head that says, oh no, you know, that's for children, you know, that's it. You want concrete evidence, but the evidence is the experience. And you won't have it until you have the experience. But you won't have the experience until you're open to having the experience. So it's like you've already blocked any possibility for yourself when you say, well, I need evidence, you know? You know what I mean? Like, you have to allow yourself to just experience it. And to experience it, you just have to be open to the experience. If that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. You know, bear in mind that as women, we are more easily accessible to this power, to this energy, to this life force, and we're not making use of it. And then we wonder why our world is getting congealed. We are the ones who have to make that connection. And then, by making that connection, we can transmit it to the men. And you don't have to be married to a man, or living with him, or interacting with him to transmit it. Because spirit is everywhere. All we need to do is connect to it and then spread it, you know, around us. Spread it around us.
Power can be used for good or bad.
Correct.
So people like, I mean, lots of powerful people.
Right. And many things that occur, everything becomes intensified by this power. The power itself is neutral, right? But if you take it and you direct it downwards, you direct it powerfully downwards. If you take it and you direct it upwards, you direct it powerfully upwards. And our job is to open ourselves to be drawn to it and be drawn upwards. There's a place where, in this book, where it says, no nation and no people can flourish and prosper where the man is unable to look up to the woman and the woman lives. Woman always stands higher than man. Always. If we descend to the level of men, it's our own problem. It really is our own problem. We must always remember that our job is to be the spiritual guides and link, that's the key word, to spirit. That's our job as women.
Is that why the world is not flourishing?
Yes.
Because man in a patriarchy, patriarchy really means the man or the masculine has
He's in
basically forgotten about the feminine or looks down on it.
Let me reword that.
Okay.
Yes, the world is not flourishing because the feminine has given up its spiritual power and its spiritual position.
Did he give up?
Yes.
Or he was suppressed?
No.
And repressed? We gave it up?
Think back, look at all ancient societies. The medicine woman, the high priestess, the oracle of Apollo, the oracle of Delphi, the women, all women, Vestal virgins, women. In all ancient societies, the high priestess was a woman. There was no such thing as a high priest. The concept of priests is a much later phenomenon. Much later phenomenon. How did the men wrest it from the women? The women became less and less invested in their position and more materially invested. Because in the days of like the ancient Greeks, yeah, the king was a man. The warriors were men. Alright? But the king would never go to war without consulting the oracle. Nothing ever happened without the direction of the high priestess. So, and what it is in a society that's becoming more and more materially oriented, people sort of put less and less value on anything spiritual or the spiritual or spirit. And so because of that, women begin to lose their value, because their value is truly spirit. I would like us to read this page that says devotion.
The human spirit on earth has coined this solemn word, but has never really grasped the meaning. He has concocted a veritable mixture containing many things, of which not a single part even approaches true devotion, because everything is drawn from the human intellect. We find the concept of mindfulness being mentally immersed, strongly imprinted in the mixture, but not devotion. For only the human spirit alone is capable of devotion, never the brain. Even the much vaunted meditations and immersions are, as a rule, nothing more than glorified self-reflection, daydreaming, but no devotion. Devotion, in the intuitive sense, is far more encompassing. It is worshiping without words, in the consciousness of being small. The goal of true devotion is precisely the opposite of human meditation. In its current form, immersion in meditation is demanding something. Devotion, however, is being ready in true humility to receive, being open to all the blessings from the highest light, being enveloped in unalterable longing for the crown of purity. Humankind does not know this devotion. You too do not know it, for it is something sacred. But you must learn it, for it is absolutely, indispensably essential for you. Adrusha.
I said beautiful.
Alright, so what I'm gonna do right now to invite you to open yourself as much as you can and invite Spirit into your being. Not just into your life, but into your being. You and you alone decide what your aspiration is or will be. But whatever that aspiration is, let me make a suggestion to you. As much as there are male beings, high beings, there are as many female high beings. Each one of these beings is embodiment of a virtue.
Of
Think
your
about
what?
virtue.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's so. We look at societies where they have so many gods and so many goddesses. Each one represents something, and we laugh at them. Say, oh, you're worshiping so many gods, but they're not gods. They're, let's put it in a different way. They're servants of God. They're caretakers of creation. They support and maintain everything in creation. And each one of them has one virtue that he or she vibrates in. And there's always a female counterpart, or a male counterpart for every female. Virtue is the same, but there's a feminine manifestation of that virtue and a masculine manifestation. So let's just take something like courage. You think, of the warrior male that goes out there and fights to defend his home and his family and so on. That's masculine courage. Courage feminine. Women have tremendous ability to withstand stress.
Yeah.
A lot more than
The
men.
man.
They do. They do. Now, when women begin to neglect the feminine aspect of any virtue and try to pursue manifesting that virtue in the masculine way, they are losing. They are the ones losing. And they disrupt the flow of the energy that is meant to be going to the men or to the man, because they're interjecting themselves where they do not belong. I'm talking about in a spiritual sense. In a spiritual sense. So, even things like conflict is a masculine activity. Conflict resolution is a feminine activity. But when women start getting into conflict rather than seeking to resolve conflict, then all those areas where women are meant to be active are now empty, and we wonder why our world is kind of falling to pieces. Okay? So when you think to yourself, what is my highest aspiration? Whatever it is, and you know, you don't need to share it with anybody else. You know what your highest aspiration is. Aspire to it as a woman. That's the first thing I'm gonna say to you. The second thing is, you have women helpers all the way up to the highest. The source of all life, the creator of all life, is neither male nor female. The source of all life is life, and life is everything. It includes male and female. But everything else outside of that is either male or female. So even the highest spiritual beings are either male or female. So you have helpers all the way up to the highest. And each time you open yourself, that power that cascades down from the Holy Grail, it doesn't just pour down, it cascades. You know what a cascade is, right? Cascade, when something cascades, it goes like this.
Stepwise.
Like waterfalls, cascades, right? It's a stepwise thing. Each one of those steps is a spiritual helper. They help the next person down, they pour it down to the next person, who pours it down to the next one, who pours it down to the next one. Now, think as the number of human spirits that exist. I mean, there's 7 billion only on this earth, but creation is bigger than this earth, right? All right, so think there are that many human spirits, innumerable, and just as innumerable higher beings, and above them even higher beings, and above them even higher beings. But it all comes from only one source. And it is that source to which you're really opening yourself. So, you know, if you say, I'm opening myself to Kali, or I'm opening myself to Isis, Isis gets it from someone else above Isis. Who gets it from? Okay. But it all comes from the one source. So when you think about your aspiration, think, I'm aspiring to this as a woman, and I'm opening myself up to the help and the power that I need to be the complete woman in this, whatever it is I'm aspiring for. Very often a person thinks to themselves, oh, you know, what it is I'm aspiring for is, you know, it's so small, you know, and you know, I need to reach up for the highest possible achievements and things. And it's not true. When you think of what you want to achieve, think of it in this context. And the other thing, or the last thing I'm gonna say to you is that spirit isn't only around you for 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes a day when you meditate, or once a week when you go to church or temple or whatever it is you do. Spirits surround you all the time. All the time. And you can and must develop a presence in spirit, a being in spirit. You must learn to be in spirit 24/7. 24/7. And it's not something that happens overnight. You have to work at it. You have to constantly remind yourself. But one way is to create a sacred space for yourself. Even if you have, you know, 5 rowdy children running around or grandkids or whatever, you can still create a sacred space. It has to be an actual space. An actual space. It doesn't have to be an entire room. It could be a little space that you clear on your dresser in your bedroom. You know? But create a space for yourself. Every day, before you start your day, go to your sacred space and spend 1 minute. You don't need 30 minutes. Even 1 minute in the sacred space. And remind yourself what you're all about. I am a woman, and I am spirit. Carry that with you throughout your day. When the end of the day comes, give thanks for the experiences of the day and the lessons of the day. Because every experience is a lesson. It only becomes lost on you if you don't see it as a lesson. But if you see it as a lesson and you pay attention, you grow. Start your day with a reminder. End your day with thankfulness. No matter what you have encountered in the day, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, it's still a lesson. When you pray or go deep within, a sound is emanating from you. You can't hear it, but it is. In spirit, everything in life has a sound and a color. So a color emanates from you, a sound emanates from you. The sound is a vibration. And the more you open yourself and reach up, the higher your vibration becomes. And that also translates to your person.
Could you repeat that again, please?
the more you reach upwards and open yourself to receive from above. Because the vibration that comes from above is a high vibration. So the higher your vibration becomes. And the more you do that, the more simplicity, gracefulness, beauty, all those things begin to manifest in you and around you. Don't take it too lightly what I just said, because it really is a fact. And when we're done, take your candle home, light it once in a while, and remind yourself of this meeting, and try and put it into daily practice. Bring it to life in your daily life.